Well, here we are again, dearly beloved Vaishnavas and everybody, all living beings who like to listen to this epic of the Mahabharata, which we're currently about halfway through. We're on the Jayadratha Vadha Parva, which is a very long section dealing with the uh, attempts of Arjuna to slay Jayadratha because Jayadratha was responsible for the death of Abhimanyu, or responsible for his not being able to be rescued. So that's where we are. I'll say Mangala Charana and then continue with the reading. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitangscha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, chapter 1066 of the Mahabharata, chapter 89 of Jayadratha Vardhapal. Dhritarashtra said, our army possesses many kinds of soldiers who are supreme and have been tested. O Sanjaya, there are many have been arrayed in the proper way. They have always been honored by us and have always been devoted to us. They are mature and are wonderful in form. The firmness and valor have been seen earlier. They are not aged nor young. They are not thin, nor are they obese. They are agile and tall, and all their limbs are free of disease. They are adorned with armor and have many kinds of weapons. They are accomplished in many kinds of knowledge connected with weapons. They know how to ascend the shoulders, advance and retreat. Footnote. That is, the soldiers knew, and oh, sorry, their mounts like elephants. They knew how to mount the shoulders. Advance and retreat. They are accomplished in striking, moving forward and back. They have been tested in many ways. On elephants, horses, and chariots. They have been examined properly and have been paid their wages, not on account of lineage, favor, or relationships. They have not arrived without being summoned, nor have soldiers in my army not been paid. They have been born in good lineages and are noble. They are contented, well fed, and submissive. They have been rewarded well. They are illustrious and spirited. O son, they are sustained by the best of men, who are the equals of the guardians of the worlds. These are the fortunate these are the foremost of advisors and many others who have performed the best of deeds. There are many kings who wish to do what is beneficial for us and protect them. They have voluntarily sided with us, with their forces and their followers. Our army is like a giant ocean with flowing rivers merging into it from every direction. It possesses many chariots and horses. Though they are without wings, they are like birds. The large number of warriors constitutes the water. The fierce mounts are the waves. There are catapults, swords, maces, spears, lances, arrows, and javelins that are like fish. There are standards and ornaments decorated with bejeweled garments. The advancing mounts are like the force of the wind that agitates it. Drona is the fathomless nether regions. Kritavarma is a giant lake. Jalasanda is a giant crocodile. Karna is the rising moon. O Sanjaya, when that bull among the Pandavas swiftly entered and penetrated my ocean of soldiers on a single chariot, and Yuyudhan followed him, I do not see any remnant being left. O Sanjaya, after Savyasati penetrated my soldiers, so did Satota, supreme among Rakas, on seeing those two valiant, fearlessly fearlessly and spiritedly advance, and on seeing the king of Sindhu within the reach of Gandiva's arrows, what did the Kurus do, driven by destiny? When that terrible time arrived, what happened to them? O son, I think that the assembled Kauravas were devoured by death. Today, their valor in battle can no longer be seen. In the battle, Krishna and Pandava have penetrated without being injured. O Sanjaya, there is no one who can resist them. There are many paid warriors and tested Maharatas. Some have been paid due wages, and others served with pleasant words. O son, there is no one among my soldiers who has not been served without due cause. The devoted ones have all obtained due wages in accordance with their deeds. O Sanjaya, there is no warrior in my army who has not been paid less than what is his due. O son, there is no man who has not been paid. To the best of my capacity, they have been honored with gifts, honors, and seats. O son, my sons, kith and kin, have also acted in the same way. But when they confronted Sabyasachi in battle, they have been vanquished. They have been supremely crushed by Shini's descendant. Other than destiny, what can this be? O Sanjaya, those who are the protectors and those who are being protected are following the same path. The protectors as well as those who are protected. On seeing Arjuna stationed in the battle in front of Saindava, what did my extremely foolish son do? On seeing Satyaki fearlessly penetrating the battle, what course of action appropriate to the occasion did Duryodhana adopt? Those supreme Rathas who are beyond the reach of all weapons penetrated the army. On witnessing this in the encounter, what did those on my side decide to do? On beholding Dasarha Krishna stationed for Arjuna's sake, and on seeing the bull among the Shini lineage, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. On seeing that Satuda and Arjuna had passed through the soldiers and that the Kurus were running away, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. On seeing that the Rathas were routed and had lost interest in subjugating the enemy, and on seeing that they had set their minds on running away, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. The seats of the chariots were rendered empty by Satvata and Arjuna. On seeing that the warriors were slain, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. On seeing horses, elephants, and chariots, and thousands of brave ones anxiously running away from the field of battle, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. Horses were deprived of brave ones. Men were deprived of their chariots by Satyaki and Partha. I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. On seeing that all the masses of infantry had given up all hope of victory and were running away in every direction, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. On seeing that those two brave ones had instantly passed through Drona's array without being defeated, I think that my sons must have been full of sorrow. O son, I, I am extremely benumbed on hearing that Krishna and Dhananjaya, the ones without decay, have penetrated my soldiers, together with Satvata. Shini's descendant, supreme among Rattas, penetrated the army. After he had passed through Boja's army, what did the Kauravas do? O Sanjaya, tell me everything about how Drona afflicted the Pandus in the battle and how that battle progressed there. Drona is brave and powerful. He is skilled in the use of weapons and is firm in his valor. How did the Panchalas fight against that great archer in the battle? Desiring Dharmaraja's victory, they are firm in their enmity towards Drona. Bharadwaja's Maharata son is also firm in his enmity towards them. Wishing to kill the king of Sindhu, what did Arjuna do? O Sanjaya, you are skilled in this. Tell me everything about what transpired. Chapter 1067 of the Mahabharata, chapter 90 of Jayadratha Vardha Parva. Sanjaya said, O bull among the Bharata lineage, this hardship is the result of your own transgressions. O brave one, you should not grieve like an ordinary person. O supreme among kings, knowing your absence of qualities, your partiality towards your sons, your duplicity about dharma, your malice towards the Pandavas, and your many piteous lamentations. Vasudeva, the one who knows all about the worlds and the Lord and protector of all the world, caused the great war to arise among the Kurus. This great and pervasive destruction has arisen because of your own crimes. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, no good deeds by you can be seen at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. That is the root of this defeat. Therefore, knowing the fate of this world, be patient and listen to how the battle raged, like the terrible one between the gods and the Asuras. Shini's descendant, with truth as his valor, penetrated amidst your soldiers. The Parthas, with Bhimasena at the forefront, advanced against your army. Maharata Kritavarma alone resisted the Pandus in that battle, as they arrived in violence and anger together with their followers. Just as the shoreline holds back the salty ocean, Hardikya repulsed the Pandu soldiers in that battle. Hardikya's valor, as Kritavarma, was regarded as extraordinary. The united Parthas could not crush him in that battle. The mighty armed Bhima pierced Kritavarma with 3 iron arrows and blew on his conch shell, delighting all the Pandavas. Sahadeva pierced Hardikya with 20 arrows, Dharmaraja with 5, and Nakula with 100. Draupadi's sons pierced him with 73, Gatotkacha with 7, and Drishtadyumna struck Kritavarma with 3. Virata, Drupada, and Yagyasena's son, footnote, since Drishtadyumna and Sikandi have been separately named, It is not clear which of Yagyasena's sons is meant by this. End of footnote. Pierced him with 5 each. Shikandi pierced Hardikya with 5 swift arrows, and laughing, again pierced him with 20 arrows. O king, Kritavarma pierced each of those Maharatas with 5 arrows, and piercing Bhima with 7, brought down his bow and his standard from his chariot. Once the bow was severed, the spirited Maharata angrily struck him in the chest with 70 arrows. Having been severely and powerfully struck by Hardikya's supreme arrows, he trembled on his chariot like a mountain during an earthquake. On seeing Bhimasena in that state, they, with Dharmaraja at the forefront, afflicted Kritavarma with the release of terrible arrows. O venerable one, they hemmed him in with a large number of chariots. To protect the son of the wind god in the battle, they cheerfully pierced him with arrows. The immensely strong Bhimasena recovered his senses. In that encounter, he grasped an iron javelin with a golden handle. From his chariot, he swiftly hurled it towards Kritavarma's chariot. Released from Bhima's arms, it was like a snake that had cast off its skin. Flaming extremely fiercely, it headed towards Kritavarma. On seeing it suddenly descend toward him, with the hue like that of the fire at the time of destruction of the Yuga, Hardikya used 2 arrows to slice it in two. That javelin, decorated with gold, was severed and thus fell down on the ground. O king, it illuminated the directions like a giant meteor that has been dislodged from the sky. On seeing that the javelin had been destroyed, Bhima was extremely enraged. He picked up another bow that was forceful and made a great sound. In that battle, Bhimasena angrily attacked Hardikya and struck him between the breasts with 5 arrows. O king, Bhima was terrible in his strength, and all this was because of your evil policy. O venerable one, Bhimasena mangled Bhoja in all his limbs. In that field of battle, he was as beautiful as a red Ashoka tree that was blossoming. However, that great archer only laughed. In that battle, he angrily struck Bhimasena with 3 arrows, and then, firmly and carefully, pierced those Maharatas back with 3 arrows each. They also pierced him back with 7 arrows each. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, in that encounter, the Maharata laughed and wrathfully used a Kshurapra arrow to sever Sikandi's bow. On seeing that his bow had been severed, Sikandi became angry. In that encounter, he grasped a sword and a brilliant shield that was marked with 100 moons. He whirled that giant shield, which was decorated with gold, and dispatched the sword towards Kritavarma's chariot. O king, in that encounter, the giant sword severed his bow and arrow and fell down on the ground, like a stellar body dislodged from the firmament. At the same time, in the battle, those Maharatas quickly and severely pierced Kritavarma with arrows. O foremost of the Bharata lineage, Hardikya, the destroyer of enemy heroes, discarded the giant bow, which had been shattered. In that encounter, he picked up another bow and pierced each of the Pandavas with 3 arrows. He pierced Sikandi with 3 arrows, and then, yet again, with another 5. The immensely illustrious Sikandi picked up another bow and countered Hridika's son with arrows that had heads made out of the nails of tortoises. O king, in that battle, Kritika's son became angry and powerfully attacked Yagyasena's Maharata son, the one who was responsible for the death of the great-souled Bhishma in the battle. O king, the brave and powerful one attacked like a tiger against an elephant. Those two were like flaming fires, or two elephants in charge of the directions. Elephants of the directions. Those destroyers of enemies clashed against each other with a torrent of arrows and released showers of arrows at each other from the best of bows. They released hundreds of arrows, like the rays of two suns in the sky. Those two Maharathas tormented each other with their sharp arrows. Those two brave ones were as resplendent as suns at the end of the Yuga. Kritavarma fiercely struck Yagyasena's Maharatha son with 73 arrows and pierced him again with another 7. Severely pierced and wounded, he sat down on the floor of his chariot, letting go of his bow and arrows and becoming unconscious. O bull among the Bharata lineage, on seeing him thus distressed in the battle, those on your side honored Hardikya and waved their garments around in the air. On discerning that Sikandi was thus afflicted by Hardikya's arrows, his charioteer swiftly bore the Maharata away from the field of battle. On seeing Sikandi on the floor of the chariot in the battle, the Parthas quickly surrounded Kritavarma with chariots. Maharata Kritavarma accomplished a supreme wonder there. In that battle, he single-handedly repulsed the Parthas and their followers. Having defeated the Parthas, Maharata Kritavarma vanquished the Chedis, the Panchalas, the Srinjayas, and the Kekayas, all of whom were immensely valorous. In the battle, the Pandavas were slaughtered by Hardikya. Get ready, Mathura. In that encounter, they were unable to retain their spirits and fled in all directions, bereft of their senses. In the battle, Hardikya defeated the sons of Pandu, with Bhimasena at the forefront. He was stationed there, like a fire without smoke. Those Maharathas were driven away by Hardikya in the battle. They were afflicted by his shower of arrows and were forced to retreat.
Wonderful. So, carrying on the great epic, Jayadratha Vada Pava, chapter 1068, episode 91. Sanjaya said, O king, listen attentively to what you have asked. Those soldiers were driven away by the great sword Hardikya. They were overcome by shame, and those on your side were delighted. The Pandus were immersed in fathomless waters without a refuge and sought refuge. O king, in that great battle, on hearing the fierce roars emitted by those on your side, Shini's descendant swiftly attacked Kritavarma. Hardikya Kritavarma angrily covered Shini's descendant with sharp arrows, and Satyaki also became enraged. In the encounter, Shini's descendant released an extremely sharp and broad-headed arrow at Kritavarma and shot another 4 arrows at him. They slew his horses, and the broad-headed arrows severed his bow. Satyaki, for whom truth was his valour, used sharp arrows to pierce his charioteer and those who guarded his rear, and thus deprived him of his chariot. He then afflicted the soldiers with arrows with drooping tufts. Oppressed by the arrows of Shini's descendant, the army scattered. Satyaki, for whom truth was his valour, then swiftly departed. O king, listen to what that valiant one did to your soldiers. O great king. He passed through the giant ocean that was Drona's army. Delighted at having vanquished Kritavama in the battle, the brave one spoke these words to his charioteer: "Proceed slowly and fearlessly. On seeing your forces with a large number of chariots, horses, elephants, and infantry, he again spoke to the charioteer. The army on the left, which is like a cloud, is Drona's. It has a large army of elephants, and Rukmarata is at the forefront. O charioteer, there are many of them, and they are unassailable in a battle. Instructed by Duryodhana, they are ready to give up their lives and are waiting for me. All those princes are great archers and are brave in fighting. These foremost of Rathas come from the Trigata, and their standards are embellished with gold. These brave ones are stationed there, desiring to fight with me. O charioteer, urge the horses quickly and take me there. While Bharadvaja's son looks on, I will fight with the Trigatas. The charioteer was obedient to Satvaka's instructions and slowly proceeded there, on a chariot that possessed the complexion of the sun and was radiant with flags. Supreme horses were harnessed to it, and they were obedient to the charioteer. In a battle, they possessed the speed of the wind, and their complexions were like the kunda flower, the moon, or silver. The chariot bore him there, drawn by supreme horses that had the complexion of conch shells. In every direction the brave ones surrounded him with an army of elephants. They showered many kinds of sharp arrows that could easily penetrate. Satvaka also used sharp arrows to fight with that army of elephants. He was like a giant cloud that showers down on a mountain at the end of the summer. The arrows were like the bajra or thunder to the touch and slaughtered the elephants. They were driven away from the field of battle by Shini's brave descendant. Their tusks were broken, they were covered in blood, their temples and frontal lobes were shattered, their ears, faces, and trunks were lopped off. They were without riders and flags. Their armor and bells were fragmented. The giant standards were brought down. O king, the blankets were torn apart. With the riders slain, they roamed around in different directions. They shrieked and roared in many ways like the thunder of the clouds. They were mangled by Satvaka's iron and Vatsadanta arrows. Sounds like a toothpaste, doesn't it? Vatsadanta. Anyway, sorry. When that army of elephants was routed, Maharata Jalasandha urged the elephant, and he was riding towards the chariot with silvery horses. The brave one had a golden complexion and was adorned with armlets made of purified gold. He had earrings, a diadem, and a conch shell, and was smeared with red sandalwood paste. There was a flaming garland made out of gold around his head. There were golden and resplendent chains on his chest and around his neck. He was seated on the head of his elephant and stretched a golden bow. O great king, he was as radiant as a cloud tinged with lightning. On seeing Magadha suddenly descend on him on a supreme elephant, Satyaki countered him, like the shoreline driving back the ocean. The elephant was checked by the supreme arrows of Shini's descendant. O king, on seeing this, the immensely strong Jalasandha became enraged in that battle. Angrily, the great archer Jalasandha pierced Shini's grandson on his broad chest with arrows that were capable of bearing great loads. He then used another yellow, sharp, and broad-headed arrow to sever the bow of the brave one from the Vrishni lineage, just as he was drawing it. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, once the bow had been severed, the brave one from Magadha laughed and pierced Satyaki with 5 sharp arrows. He was pierced by many arrows released by the valiant Jalasandha, but the mighty Almond did not waver. It was extraordinary. Without any fear, the powerful one thought about the arrows he should use. He took up another bow, asking Jalasandha to wait. Shini's descendant laughed and severely struck him on his broad chest with 60 arrows. He then used a yellow Shurapra arrow to sever Jalasandha's giant bow in his hand and pierced him with 3 arrows. Jalasandha cast aside the bow, which had an arrow still affixed to it. O venerable one, he swiftly hurled a lance towards Satyaki. In that great battle, this pierced Madhava's left arm and penetrated the earth like a giant and fierce serpent that was sighing. When his left arm had been pierced, Satyaki, for whom truth was his valour, struck Jalasandha with 30 sharp arrows. The immensely strong Jalasandha picked up a sword and a giant shield that was made out of the hide of bulls and was marked with the signs of 100 moons. He whirled the sword and hurled it at Satvaka. Severing the bow of Shini's descendant, the sword fell down on the ground. When it fell down on the ground, it looked like a circle of fire. Satyaki, picked up another bow that was capable of shattering all bodies. It was as large as the trunk of a shala tree, and its roar was like that of Indrasvadra. He angrily stretched that bow and pierced Jalasandha with an arrow. The supreme one of the Madhava lineage laughed and used 2 Shurapra arrows to sever Jalasandha's arms with their ornaments and their armlets. Those arms were like clubs and fell down from that supreme of elephants. They fell down on the ground like 2 5-headed serpents falling down from a mountain. With a third Shurapra arrow, Satyaki severed his head, possessing beautiful teeth and a handsome jaw, and adorned with charming earrings. When the head and arms had been cut down, the torso looked fearful and sprinkled Jarasandha's elephant with his blood. O Lord of the earth, having swiftly slain Jalasandha, Satvaka brought down the housing from the elephant's shoulder. Jalasandha's elephant was covered with blood all over its limbs. He was hanging upside down from that supreme seat. Afflicted by Satvaka's arrows, the giant elephant fled, uttering terrible and piteous shrieks and crushing its own soldiers. O Venerable One, on seeing that Jalasandha had been slain by the bull among the Vrishni lineage, a giant roar of lamentation arose among your soldiers. Your soldiers retreated and fled in different directions. They were interested in running away and not in defeating the army, O king. At this time, Drona, supreme among those who wielded weapons, quickly approached Maharata Yuyudhana, borne on his swift horses. On seeing that Shini's descendant was rampaging, many bulls among the crews angrily surrounded Satyaki. Together with Drona, a battle commenced between the Kurus with Drona and Satvaka. O king, it was a terrible crash like that between the gods and the Asuras. Okay, I'll just read the next one. That's it. Sanjaya said, this is chapter 1069, 92. Sanjaya said, O great king, all of them swiftly fought with Yuyudhana. They were skilled in striking and made endeavors. They showered down a storm of arrows. He struck Drona with 77 sharp arrows. Durmashana struck him with 12 arrows. Dushaha with 10. Vikana struck him on the left side and between the breasts with 30 sharp arrows that were tufted with the feathers of herons. Dummuka struck him with 10 arrows and Dubshana with 8. O venerable one, Chitrasena pierced Shini's descendant with 2 arrows. Duryodhana brought down a great shower of arrows on Madhava. O king, in that battle, other Maharatas also afflicted him. Your Maharata sons countered him from all directions. However, Shini's descendant pierced each of them back with separate arrows. He struck Bhadraraja's son with 3 arrows. Dushaha with 9, Brikana with 25, Chitrasena with 7, Durmashana with 12, Vivim Shati with 4, Satyabrata with 9, and Vijaya with 10 arrows. The Maharata struck Rukmandakara's bow and brandished his own bow. Satyaki then quickly advanced against your Maharata son. While everyone looked on, he severely pierced the king, supreme among the wielders of all weapons, with his arrows, and a battle commenced between the two. Both of them affixed and released sharp arrows. In that battle, those two Maharajas rendered each other invisible. Pierced by Satyaki, the king of the Kurus looked extremely beautiful. A lot of blood flowed from his body, like the sap from a sandalwood tree. Satvaka was also pierced by a mass of arrows released by your son. He was as beautiful as a golden sacrificial stake that had been erected. O king, in that battle, the Madhava archer suddenly severed the Kuru's king's bow with a Shurupta arrow and laughed. When the bow had been severed, he released many arrows and pierced the enemy with those swift-acting arrows. In the battle, the king could not tolerate these signs of victory on the part of the foe. He grasped another insaleable bow that possessed a golden back and quickly pierced Satyaki with 100 arrows. He was severely and powerfully struck by your archer son. Overcome by sentiments of intolerance, he began to afflict your son. On seeing that the king was oppressed, your Maratha son showered powerful arrows on Satvaka and enveloped him. When he was shrouded, when he was shrouded by your Maharata sons in many ways, he pierced each of them with 5 arrows and pierced them again with 7 each. He swiftly struck Duryodhana with 8 arrows. Laughing, he severed his bow and frightened the enemy. With more arrows, he brought down his standard, which was decorated with a bejeweled elephant. He used 4 sharp arrows to slay his 4 horses. The immensely illustrious one then brought down the charioteer with a Shurapra arrow. The Maharata encountered the king of the Kurus with many arrows that were capable of penetrating the inner organs and was delighted. O king, having been thus struck but in the battle by the supreme arrows released by Shini's descendant, your son Duryodhana suddenly fled. The archer king mounted Chitrasena's chariot, and a great lamentation arose in the world on seeing that the king was about to be devoured by Satyaki like the moon by Rahu. On hearing this great uproar, Maharata Kritavarma suddenly advanced towards the spot where the illustrious Madhava was. He brandished his supreme bow and censured his charioteer, urging him to speedily goad the horses and head swiftly in that direction. O great king, on seeing that he was descending like death with a gaping mouth, Yuyudhana spoke to his charioteer. With his arrows, Kritavarma is quickly advancing towards me on his chariot. Drive your chariot and let us clash against this supreme of all archers. The horses were prepared well and were fast, and advanced in the battle against Boja, who was revered by archers. Those 2 tigers among men were extremely angry and were like blazing fires. They clashed against each other like 2 spirited tigers. Kritavarma struck Shini's descendant with 26 sharp arrows and his charioteer with 7. He struck Satvaka's 4 horses, which were from the Sindhu region and were well trained and well controlled, with 4 supreme arrows. His standard was golden, and he brandished his giant bow with a golden back. His armlets were golden, and his armor was golden. He countered him with 4 tufted arrows. Wishing to leave and see Dhananjaya, Shini's descendant also quickly struck Kritavarma with sharp arrows. Struck by his powerful enemy, the unassailable scorcher of enemies trembled like a mountain during an earthquake. Satyaki then quickly pierced Kritavarma's 4 horses with 63 sharp arrows and his charioteer with 7. Satyaki then affixed an arrow with golden tufts and released it. It blazed like a giant fire and was like an angry serpent. The arrow was like Yama's staff, and he released it to Kritavarma. It penetrated his armor, which shone like the sun and was decorated with colorful gold. Having drunk his blood, it fiercely penetrated the earth. Afflicted by Satvaka, he was drenched in blood. He cast aside his bow and sank down on the floor of the supreme chariot. His teeth were like that of a lion, and he was infinite in his valor. but, afflicted by Satyaki's arrows, the bull among men, sank down on his knees on the floor of the chariot. Having counterfeit of armor, who's like the thousand-armed one, and like an ocean that cannot be agitated, Satyaki left. The place was full of swords, lances, and bows, and populated by elephants, horses, and chariots. It looked terrible because of the blood shed by the bull among the Kshatriyas. While all the soldiers looked on, the bull of the Shini lineage passed through it. He immersed himself in that army and penetrated it, like the slayer of Vitra through an army of Asuras. Meanwhile, Hardikya grasped another giant bow and, stationed there, began to powerfully resist and fight with the Pandavas.
Wow. I was just going to say something there. That's very good. It might get confusing sometimes, but this is Satyaki is sometimes called Satvata, sometimes called Shini's grandson,
Yes.
sometimes he's called Yuyudhan, sometimes he's called Madhava.
Yeah.
So you got to remember it's all Satyaki. And same with Kritavarma, he's sometimes Hardikya, sometimes he's Hridika's son,
Yeah.
and
It's not.
he's so they're both now these two. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
These two now encountering Kritavarma and Satyaki. They're both of the Yadu lineage. They're both Yadus, so
Okay.
they know each other.
Thanks for that. Yeah, it's there's less people involved than you think because all these names it actually sounds like there's like a whole tribe, but it's just a
Yeah,
couple of guys with
yeah,
lots of
yeah.
different names.
That's right. Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
okay, TK, off you'll go. I will get out of here.
Thank you. I'm just going to read the last line, I think, of that previous chapter, which went, "Meanwhile, Hardikya grasped another giant's bow and, stationed there, began to powerfully resist and fight with the Pandavas." Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 1070, 1070, part 93. Sanjaya said, "At the time when the soldiers were scattered by Shini's descendant, Bharadvaja's son repulsed him with a great shower of arrows. While all the soldiers looked on, the tumultuous clash commenced between Drona and Satvata, like that between Bali and Vasava. Drona pierced Shini's grandson in the forehead with 3 colorful arrows that were completely made out of iron and were like venomous snakes. O great king, pierced in the forehead by those arrows, Yuyudhana was as beautiful as a mountain with 3 peaks. Bharadvaja's son was looking for an opportunity in the battle. He released many other arrows with roars like those of Indra's Vajra. While the arrows released from Drona's bow were descending, Dasharha, who was supreme in the knowledge of weapons, severed them with 2 arrows that had excellent tufts. O Lord of the earth! On beholding this dexterity of hand, Drona smiled and suddenly struck the bull among the Shini lineage with 20 arrows. He surpassed Yudhana's lightness of hand with his own dexterity and pierced him with 50 arrows, and then yet again with 100. O king, they arose from Drona's chariot like large and angry serpents from a termite hill and penetrated his body. In that fashion, Yudhana released hundreds and thousands of arrows. Oh, those arrows could drink up blood and enveloped Drona's chariot. Oh, venerable one, no difference in dexterity could be seen between the foremost of Brahmanas and Satyaki. Those bulls among men were equal. Extremely angry, Satyaki struck Drona with 9 arrows, with drooping tufts, and also struck his standard with sharp arrows. While Bharadvaja's son looked on, he struck his charioteer with 100 arrows. On witnessing Yuyudhana's dexterity, Maharata Drona pierced Satyaki with 70 arrows and each of the horses with 3. With a single arrow, he pierced the standard that was stationed on Madhava's chariot. In that battle, he then used another broad-headed arrow with golden tufts to sever the great-souled Madhava's bow. At this, Maharata Satyaki became very angry. He discarded that bow, he grasped a giant club, and hurled it at Bharadvaja's son. It was made completely out of iron and was bound with strips of cloth. It descended suddenly. However, Drona used many arrows of diverse kinds to counter it. Satyaki, for whom truth was his valour, then grasped another bow. He pierced Bharadvaja's brave son with many arrows that had been sharpened on stone. He pierced Drona in the battle and roared like a lion. But Drona, supreme among the wielders of all weapons, could not tolerate this. He grasped an iron javelin with a golden handle and swiftly hurled it towards Madhava's chariot. That javelin was like death, but it did not reach Shini's descendant. It shattered his chariot and with a terrible noise fiercely penetrated the ground. O king, O bull among the Bharata lineage, Shini's grandson pierced Drona with arrows and struck him on his right arm. O king, in that battle, using an arrow that was in the shape of a half-moon, Drona severed Madhava's great bow and struck the charioteer of his chariot with a javelin. For an instant, he sank down senseless on the floor of the chariot. That's the charioteer. O king, Satyaki then performed a superhuman deed there. He grasped the reins himself and fought with Drona. O lord of the earth, in that encounter, Maharata Yuyudhana pierced the Brahmana with 100 arrows and was delighted. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, Drona released 5 arrows at him. In the battle, they penetrated his armor and drank his blood. Pierced by those terrible arrows, Satyaki became extremely angry. The brave one released arrows towards the one with the golden chariot. With an arrow, he brought Drona's charioteer down on the ground. With the great-souled Drona's charioteer slain, the horses began to run away. O king, in that battle, the radiant chariot whirled around in 1,000 circles like the sun. Drona's horses are running away! Grab them! These were the sounds that arose from all the princes and the kings. O king, the Maharatas quickly abandoned the battle with Satyaki. All of them swiftly rushed to the spot where Drona was. On seeing that all of them were running away, afflicted by Satvata's arrows, your soldiers were again shattered and distressed. Drona went and again stationed himself at the mouth of the Vyuha. He had been borne away by horses that were as fleet as the wind and had been afflicted by Vrishni's arrows. The valiant one saw that the Vyuha had been shattered by the Pandus and the Panchalas. Therefore, he devoted himself to protecting the Vyuha and did not follow Shini's descendant. The fire that was Drona consumed and countered the Pandus and the Panchalas. The flame of his ire blazed like the sun that arises at the end of a yuga. Chapter 1071, Part 94. Sanjaya said, O foremost among the bulls of the Kuru lineage, having vanquished Drona and other foremost men on your side, with Hardikya at the forefront, the brave one of the Shini lineage laughed and spoke these words to his charioteer. O charioteer, we are only instruments today. They have been consumed by Keshava and Falguna. We have slain those whom that bull among men, the son of the Lord of the gods, has already killed. Having thus spoken in that great battle, the bull among the Shinny lineage, fierce archer and the destroyer of enemies, swiftly showered powerful arrows in every direction like a hawk in search of flesh. The foremost of brave ones was borne on horses that had the complexion of the moon or conch shells. He immersed himself in the soldiers, and though they surrounded him from all sides, no one was capable of withstanding him. That fierce man was like the rays of the sun, a descendant of the Bharata lineage. He was valiant, and his spirit was indomitable. Not a single one from those masses was capable of standing up to him. His prowess was like that of the one with 1,000 eyes. He was like the sun in the firmament when the rainy season is over. There was a colorful warrior named Sudarshana, and he was full of intolerance. He bore bow and arrows and sported golden armor. That supreme among kings advanced against Satyaki and sought to counter him. O descendant of the Bharata lineage. An extremely terrible encounter took place between them and the warriors on your side, and the Somakas praised it. The large number of immortals compared it to that between Vritra and Indra. Sudarshana pierced the foremost one of the Sattvata lineage with hundreds of extremely sharp arrows. But before those arrows could reach him, the bull among the Shini lineage struck them down with his own arrows. Sudarshana was stationed on his chariot. In similar fashion, when Satyaki, who was like Shakra, released arrows at him, Sudarshana severed those supreme arrows into 2 or 3 fragments. On seeing that his arrows were destroyed by the force of Satyaki's arrows, Sudarshana, whose energy was fierce, became angry. He released golden and colorful arrows. He drew his bow completely back, up to his ear, and again released 3 sharp arrows that had excellent tufts and were like the fire. These pierced Satyaki's body armor and penetrated his body. Yet again, the son of the king fixed another 4 flaming arrows and struck the 4 horses that possessed the complexion of silver. Shini's grandson was like Indra in his valor. Thus afflicted, the spirited one quickly released a mass of extremely sharp arrows and killed Sudarshana's horses, roaring loudly. He released a broad-headed arrow that was like the Vajra or thunder and sliced off the head of his charioteer. The brave one from the Shini lineage then used a Shurapra arrow to sever Sudarshana's head. It sported earrings and was like the full moon. It possessed a radiant face and was severed from the body. O king, this was like the battle in ancient times when the wielder of the Vajra used extreme force to kill Bala. Having slain the son and the grandson of a king in the battle, the spirited and great-souled bull of the Yadu lineage was overcome by great delight. He was as resplendent as the king of the gods. He then followed the path that Arjuna had taken, repulsing your soldiers with his mass of arrows. The chariot was borne by well-trained horses, and the brave one among men filled everyone with wonder. All the supreme warriors who were assembled there honored him and wondered at his fierce deeds. With his arrows, he was like a blazing fire that consumed everything that came within the range of the arrows. Good end.
Very well,
I'll
very,
read
very well
one
read.
more.
You're doing it's brilliant.
Thanks. Thanks. It's great fun. Hare Krishna.
By the way, Shurapra
All right.
arrows mean
Chapter.
raise a head. Yeah?
Right.
Shurapra
Yes.
arrows,
Right.
that means
Nice.
raise a head. Okay.
Oh. Thanks. Chapter 1072, part 95. Sanjaya said. The great-souled and intelligent Satyaki, the bull of the Vrishni lineage, killed Sudarshana and spoke these words to his charioteer. O son, we have passed through the impenetrable and great ocean that is Drona's army. It is full of chariots, horses, and elephants. The arrows and javelins are the garlands of waves. The swords are the fish, and the clubs are the crocodiles. The weapons of the brave ones make a loud roar. This is terrible and is destructive of life. There is a terrible din created by musical instruments. Warriors find this pleasant to the touch, but it is unassailable to those who desire victory. There are the forces of Jalasandha, surrounded by flesh-eating ones. But I think that the remaining part of the army is like a small river. It only has a little bit of water. Therefore, fearlessly urge the horses forward. I think that Savyasachi is only the distance of a hand away, and we will reach him. In the battle, we have vanquished the intolerable Drona and his followers, and Hardikya, supreme among warriors. I think that we have reached Dhananjaya. At the sight of innumerable soldiers, no fear is engendered in me. They are like dried grass during the summer before a blazing fire. Behold, this is the ground along which Kiriti, the foremost of the Pandavas, has passed. It has been rendered uneven by large numbers of infantry, horses, chariots, and elephants that have fallen. I think that we are close to the one with the white horses, with Krishna as the charioteer. The sound of the infinitely energetic Gandiva can be heard. From the omens that manifest themselves before me, Arjuna will kill Saindava before the sun has set. Go slowly and preserve the strength of the horses. Proceed towards the army of the enemy. That is where the armored ones are, with Suyodhana at the forefront. The Kambojas are indomitable in battle. They are armored and are the performers of cruel deeds. There are armed Yavanas wielding bows and arrows. There are Shakas, Kiratas, Daradas, Barbaras, and Tamraliptakas. There are many other mlechas with diverse weapons in their hands. All of them are stationed with their faces towards me, wishing to fight. This is an extremely terrible fortress, with chariots, elephants, and infantry. But consider that we have already passed through this and have slain them. The charioteer replied, O Varshnaya, O one who has truth as his valor, know that I have no fear, even if the extremely enraged son of Jamadagni were to be stationed before us now. O mighty armed one, if it were to be Drona, best among Ratas, or Kripa, or the Lord of Madra, I have no fear as long as I am under your protection. O destroyer of enemies, you have already vanquished many of them in battle. I have never exhibited any fear in battle. O brave one, why should I show it now in this battle with a trifle? O one with a long life, which route shall I take to reach Dhananjaya? O Varshnaya, whom are you angry with? To whom has death presented itself? Who have made up their minds to go to Yama's residence today? You are like death at the end of a yuga, and exhibit your valor in battle. On witnessing this valor, which warriors will run away? O mighty armed one, who are the ones whom King Vaivasvata has remembered today? Footnotes. King Vaivasvata is Yama. And in this battle with the trifle, it says, the text uses the word goshpada. This literally means the mark of a cow's foot in the soil and the small puddle of water that fills up such a mark. That is a trifle. End footnote. So Satyaki said, like Vasava against, so that was his charioteer speaking. Now Satyaki said, like Vasava against the Danavas, I will slay the ones with the shaved heads and fulfill my vow. take me towards the Kambojas. Having caused carnage among them today, I will swiftly go to Pandava. The Kauravas, together with Suryodhana, will witness my valor today. O charioteer, I will afflict all the soldiers and kill the ones with the shaven heads. In the battle today, I will shatter the soldiers of the Kauravas. Having heard many kinds of lamentations, Suryodhana will be satisfied. Today, in the battle, I will show my preceptor, the great-souled one with the white horses, who is foremost among the Pandavas, the path that he has indicated to me. Thousands of foremost among warriors will be slain by my arrows today. On witnessing this, King Duryodhana will suffer from repentance. I will release supreme arrows today, using the dexterity of my hands. The Kauravas will behold my bow like a circle of fire. My arrows will make copious quantities of blood flow from their limbs. On witnessing the slaughter of the soldiers, Suryodhana will suffer from repentance. In my angry form, I will slay the best of the best today. Today, Suryodhana will think that the world has two Arjunas. In the battle today, thousands of kings will be killed by me. On witnessing this, King Duryodhana will repent the great battle. Today, I will show my affection and devotion to the great-souled Pandavas. I will kill thousands of kings and show the king. Sanjaya said, footnote means show the king Duryodhana. So, I will kill thousands of kings and show the king. Sanjaya said, thus instructed, the charioteer urged Duryodhana's supreme horses, which were trained and well skilled. Those horses had the complexion of the moon, and he urged them to their greatest speed. They possessed the speed of the wind, or of thought, and seemed to devour the sky as they quickly sped to the spot where the Yavanas were. As he reached that army, without retreating, they exhibited the dexterity of their hands, and enveloped Satyaki with many showers of arrows. O king, but before those arrows could reach him, Satyaki used his powerful arrows with drooping tufts to sever those arrows and other weapons. He then used extremely sharp arrows that were gold-tufted with the feathers of vultures to sever the heads and arms of the Yavanas. Some of those arrows penetrated the armor made out of steel and brass, and passing through the bodies, penetrated the earth in every direction. In the battle, the Mlechas were slaughtered by the brave Satyaki. Hundreds of them lost their lives and fell down on the ground. The bow was drawn back to its full extent, and an incessant stream of arrows was shot. He afflicted and oppressed them, and killed 5, 6, 7, and 8 Yavanas with a single arrow. Oh, Lord of the earth, thousands of Kambojas, Shakas, Shabaras, Kiratas, and Barbaras fell down, and the earth was full of mire, M-I-R-E, mire, made out of flesh and blood. Shini's descendant caused a great destruction among your forces. The earth was strewn everywhere with the helmets of bandits and their severed and shaved heads, which looked like birds without feathers. The field of battle was resplendent with blood and wounds on the limbs of torsos that were strewn in every direction, like the sky covered with coppery clouds. The arrows had excellent joints and were like the vajra, or thunder, to the touch. Horses and carts were destroyed and scattered around on the ground. The few that were left were scattered. They sought to protect their lives and were bereft of their senses. O great king, in that battle, those armored ones were vanquished by Duryodhana. They used their whips to urge the Parshnis and horses to adopt the greatest speed and run away in different directions. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, in that battle, He drove away the invincible Cambodia soldiers, the soldiers of the Yavanas, and the great army of Shakas. Thus did Satyaki, the tiger among men for whom truth was his valor, defeat those on your side. He was delighted and urged his charioteer to proceed. O Lord of the earth, on seeing that he was advancing as the one who was protecting Arjuna's rear, the Charanas were delighted, and together with those on your side, honored him. I'll let you take off.
All right. Brilliant.
That was one of your best ever recitations. It was really good.
Yes, I'll second that.
Thanks.
So,
Thank you.
chapter 1073 of the Mahabharata. So we should have this kind of say that, because 1073 is right from the very beginning of the book Mahabharata. So it's chapter 1073 of the Mahabharata, chapter 96 of whatever is at the top of the page, Jayadratha Vadhaparva. Though actually it's chapter 96 of Drona Parva, but they don't want to confuse the issue. So anyway, fantastic. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sanjaya said, having defeated the Yavanas and the Cambodians, Duryodhana, supreme among Rathas, passed through the midst of your soldiers and headed towards Arjuna. That tiger among men possessed arrows as his teeth. His colorful armor was like a picture. He was like a great tiger, slaying deer and terrifying the soldiers. As he traversed along the path in his chariot, he fiercely brandished his bow. It was extremely powerful and had a golden back. It was decorated with golden moons. His armlets and helmet were golden, and he was covered in golden armor. The brave one possessed supreme golden standard that was resplendent as Meru's summit. In the battle, the circle of his bow had energy like that of the sun with its rays. He was like the sun when it has arisen in the autumn, and among those men was as resplendent as the sun. The bull among men had the shoulders of a bull. He was brave and had the eyes of a bull. He penetrated the midst of your soldiers like a bull in the midst of cattle. He was like a maddened elephant advancing against another maddened elephant. He was like an elephant with shattered temples, stationed in the midst of a herd. Those on your side advanced against him in the battle, as if they wished to be killed by a tiger. He passed through Drona's army and through the impenetrable army of Bhoja. He passed through the ocean that was Jalasandha and through the army of the Cambodians. He crossed through that ocean of soldiers and escaped from the Makara that was Hardikya. Satyaki was then surrounded by extremely enraged Rathas from your side. There were Duryodhana, Chitrasena, Dushashana, Vivimsati, Sakuni, Dushaha, the youthful Durmarshana, Krata, and many other brave and invincible ones who were armed. As Satyaki proceeded, they angrily followed him from behind. O venerable one, a great uproar then arose amidst your soldiers. It was like the ocean agitated by the force of the wind during the night of the full moon or the new moon. The bull among the Shinny lineage glanced at those who were advancing against him. He laughed and addressed his charioteer. Advance slowly. This army of Dhritarashtra's son is advancing against me. It is swiftly headed in my direction, with elephants, horses, and infantry. O charioteer, all the directions are resounding with the roar of their chariots. The earth, the firmament, and the ocean are trembling. O son, in this great battle, I will counter this ocean of soldiers, like the shoreline resisting the abode of the waters when it swells at the time of the full moon. O charioteer, behold my valor in this great battle, like that of Indra. I will pierce the soldiers of the enemy with sharp arrows. Behold, in the battle, I will slay the infantry, horses, rutters, and elephants, and pierce their bodies with thousands of my arrows that are like a fire. While the infinitely energetic Satyaki was speaking in this way, the soldiers quickly approached him, wishing to fight. Kill! Attack! Stay! Watch! See! These were the words those brave ones spoke. Satyaki killed 300 horses and 400 elephants with his sharp arrows. The encounter that ensued between him and those archers was tumultuous and led to the destruction of men, like the famous battle between the gods and the Asuras. Oh, venerable one, your son's soldiers were like a mass of clouds. However, Shini's grandson received them with arrows that were like venomous serpents. O great king, without any fear, in that battle, the valiant one shrouded them with a net of arrows and killed many on your side. O Indra among kings, the spectacle that I witnessed there was supremely wonderful. Not a single one of Satyaki's arrows was unsuccessful. That large ocean of soldiers was full of chariots, elephants, and horses, and also full of foot soldiers, and was forced to stand still when it encountered Shini's descendant as the shoreline. The terrified men, elephants, and steeds in your army advanced and were slain in every direction by the arrows. They roamed around there like cattle afflicted by the winter. We did not see any infantry, chariots, elephants, riders, and horses that were not pierced by Yuyudhana's arrows. O king, not even Palguna had caused such carnage amongst the army as was caused by Satyaki. O king, O bull among the Bharata lineage, Shini's grandson surpassed Arjuna in the battle. King Duryodhana pierced Satyaki with 3 arrows, pierced his charioteer, and struck his 4 horses with 4 arrows. He then pierced Satyaki with 3 arrows and again struck him with another 8. Dushasana pierced the bull among the Shini lineage with 16 arrows, Sakuni with 25, Chitrasena with 5, and Dushaha pierced Satyaki in the chest with 15 arrows. O great king, the tiger among the Vrishni lineage was thus struck by their arrows and pierced each of them back with 3 arrows. The supremely energetic one severely pierced them. Shini's descendant was dexterous and brave and roamed around in that battle like a hawk. He severed Sobala's bow and his arm guard. He pierced Duryodhana between the breasts with 3 arrows the bull among the Shini lineage, pierced Chitrasena with 100 arrows, Dushaha with 10, and Dushasha with 20. Lord of the earth, your brother-in-law, picked up another bow and pierced Satyaki with 8 arrows, following this up with another 5. O king, Dushashana pierced Satyaki with 10 arrows, Dushaha with 3, and Durmukha with 12. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, Duryodhana pierced Madhava with 73 arrows and then used 3 sharp arrows to pierce his charioteer. All those brave Maharatas made their efforts, and Satyaki pierced them back with 5 arrows each. Oh Lord, he used a broad-headed arrow to kill your son's charioteer and bring him down on the ground from the chariot. O king, O lord of the earth, when the charioteer was killed, the horses that had the speed of the wind and the soldiers bore the chariot away from the field of battle. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, on seeing that the king's chariot was running away, hundreds of your soldiers fled. Satyaki enveloped them with sharp arrows that were gold tufted and had been sharpened on stone. In every direction he drove away all your soldiers. O king, Satyaki then advanced towards the chariot, the one with the white horses. He released arrows and protected himself and his charioteer, and those on your side honored him. Chapter 1074 of the Mahabharata, chapter 97 of Jayadratha Vadha Parva. Dhritarashtra said, Shini's descendant proceeded towards Arjuna, crushing that large army. Oh, Sanjaya, what did my shameless sons do? When they confronted death in that battle, how did they hold up their spirits? The conduct of Shini's descendant is like that of Sabyasachi. In the midst of the soldiers, how could the Kshatriyas bear to be defeated? How did the immensely illustrious Satyaki pass through them in that battle? O Sanjaya, as long as my sons were alive there, how could Shini's descendant progress in that battle? Tell me everything in detail, O son. What I have heard from you about the clash between one and many with Maharatas on the side of the enemy is extremely wonderful. I think that destiny must be against my sons, and that they suffer from ill fortune, since they are being slain in the battle by the great soul Satwata. O Sanjaya, a single one is sufficient to counter my entire army. When Duryodhana is angry, let all the Pandavas remain standing. He has vanquished Drona, who accomplished the unassailable in fighting. In the battle, Satyaki will kill my sons, like a lion against large numbers of deer. There were many brave warriors, Kritavarma and others, but in the battle they were incapable of fighting with that bull among men, and he will kill them. Phalguna himself was incapable of fighting in the way that Shini's immensely illustrious grandson fought. Sanjaya replied, O king, all this has happened because of Duryodhana's evil counsel and deeds. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, listen attentively to what I am telling you. On your son's instructions, the Shamshaptakas returned, having made up their minds to fight to their utmost. There were 3,000 riders with Duryodhana at the forefront, Shakas, Kambojas, Balikas, Yavanas, Paradas, Kunindas, Tanganas, Ambastas, Pisachas, and those from mountainous regions. They attacked Shini's descendant like insects toward a flame. They were joined by rutters from the mountainous regions, those who fought with stones. O king, 500 such brave ones attacked Shini's descendant. There were 1,000 rutters and 100 Maharatas. There were 1,000 elephants and 2,000 horses. Those Maharatas showered many different kinds of arrows. In that battle, infantry attacked Shini's descendant. O descendant of the Bharat lineage, O great king, Dushasana urged all of them to surround Satyaki and kill him. We witnessed the great and marvelous conduct of Shini's descendant. Without any fear, he single-handedly fought against many. He slew that array of rutters, the army of elephants, all the riders and all those dasyus. He mangled and routed them with his supreme weapons. Many wheels were shattered, and beautiful chariot poles were destroyed. Bumpers were fragmented and standards brought down. The earth was strewn with armor and wisps. O venerable one, there were garlands, ornaments, garments, and yokes. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the earth was littered with these, like the sky with planets. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the best of elephants, with the forms of mountains, were brought down. They were born in the lineages of Anjana, Vamana, Supratika, Mahapadma, Airavata, and many other lineages. O king, the best of tuskers were slain in large numbers, lay down there. O king, the best of horses from Vanayu, mountainous regions, Cambodia, and Badlika breeds were slain there by Satyaki. There were foot soldiers who had been raised in many different countries, born in many races. Hundreds and thousands of them were killed there by Shini's descendant. When the soldiers confronted death in this way, Dushasana spoke to the Dashus. Return! You are not those who are familiar with Dharma. Why are you running away without fighting? On seeing that they did not listen, your son Dushasana urged the brave ones from the mountainous regions, the ones who fought with stones. You are skilled in fighting with stones, and Satyaki is not familiar with this. You know about fighting with stones. Use that mode to kill the one who desires to fight. None of the Kurus are skilled in fighting with stones. Do not be frightened. Attack. Satyaki will not be able to approach you. Those mountain dwellers raised boulders that were like elephant cubs, and desiring death, advanced against Yuyudha. Others hurled those at him, wishing to kill Satyaki. They were urged by your son and hemmed him in from all directions. On seeing them descend on him, desiring to fight with boulders, Satyaki fought against them and released 300 arrows. Those from the mountainous regions rained down a tumultuous shower of boulders. However, the bull among the Shini lineage countered these with iron arrows that were like serpents. These shattered the boulders, and the fragments shone like fireflies. O venerable one, some of these slew the soldiers, and sounds of lamentation arose. O king, there were 500 brave ones, with giant boulders raised. Their arms were severed and fell down on the ground. Other brave ones who fought with stones were stationed there. Many thousands of these were slain, and it was extraordinary. The foremost among them again attacked, showering boulders from every direction. They held iron in their hands. There were Daradas with spears in their hands, and Kashas and Tanganas. There were Ambashtras and Kunindas. They were enraged. And Satyaki was also wrathful. The immensely strong one released iron arrows, countered them. With his sharp arrows, he shattered those boulders in the sky. O king, this produced a noise that made elephants, horses, ratas, and infantry to run away. Struck by shards from those boulders, powerful and armored men were incapable of remaining there and roamed around. The remaining elephants were covered with blood. Their heads and frontal globes were shattered. They ran away from Yuyudhana's chariot. O venerable one, a great noise arose among your soldiers when they were afflicted by Madhava like that of the fierce ocean. On hearing the tumultuous sound, Drona told his charioteer, O charioteer, in this battle, Maharata Satvata is angry, and he roams around in the encounter like death. He is shattering the soldiers in many ways. O charioteer, take the chariot to the spot where the tumultuous sound has arisen. There is no doubt that Yuyudhan is fighting with the mountain dwellers. It is there that all the rathas are being destroyed and the heroes are running away. The foot soldiers are bereft of their armor. They are wounded and are falling down. In that melee, the charioteers can no longer control their horses. Having been thus addressed by Bharadwaja's intelligent son, the charioteer spoke to Drona, supreme among those who wielded weapons. O one with the long life, oh, the Kaurava soldiers are running away in every direction. Behold, the warriors have been shattered and are fleeing here and there. The brave Panchalas and Pandavas have united. They are attacking us from every direction, wishing to kill you. O destroyer of enemies, the time has come for you to decide what must be done. Should we remain here, or should we advance further towards where Satyaki is proceeding? O venerable one, thus did, oh, venerable one, no, Sanjaya speaking, O venerable one, thus did he speak to Bharadwaja's son. Get ready, Mathura. At that time, Shini's descendant was seen, killing many different kinds of ratas. In the encounter, those on your side were killed by Yuyudhana. They abandoned Yuyudhana's chariot and fled away towards Drona's army. All of them were terrified and fled towards Drona's chariot. With other ratas, Dushashana had already retreated there earlier. Om Tat Sat.
Amazing, the lights changed so much just since. Okay, I'll just open that. So, to continue this wonderful, great Mahabharata epic, Jayadrata Vadaparva, chapter 1075, 95. Sanjaya said, On seeing that Dushyant's chariot was stationed near his.
No, chapter 98. Chapter
This
1.
is this is chapter 98.
Yes, and you said 95.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. I said 95. Okay, excuse me. Pardon me. I'll start again. Chapter 1075, chapter 98. Sanjaya said, on seeing that Dushyant's chariot was stationed near his, Bharadvaja's son spoke these words to Dushyanta. O Dushyanta, why are all these rutters running away? Is the king well, and is his son Dava still alive? You are a prince, and your brother is a Maharata. Why are you running away from the battle? Accept the status of heir apparent. You have yourself brought on this great enmity with the Panchalas and Pandavas. In the battle, how can you be frightened of the single-handed Satyaki? In the gambling match in earlier times, when you grasped the dice, did you not know that they would become terrible arrows in the future, like venomous serpents? Your words towards the Pandavas were especially hateful. You were the cause of the hardships that Draupadi faced in earlier times. Where is that insolence, pride, and swagger about valor now? You enraged the Paratas, who are like venomous serpents. Why are you running away now? The army of the Bharat is sorry now, as is King Suryodhana. He was a harsh brother who is now intent on running away. O brave one, the army is shattered and is afflicted by terror. There is no doubt that you should resort to the strength of your arms and protect it now. But you are abandoning the fight in fright now and delighting the enemy. O destroyer of enemies, you are the leader of your army and are fleeing when the refuge is itself frightened. Which other terrified person will remain stationed in the battle? O unblemished one, you are fighting with the single-handed Satvaka now. Even then your mind turns towards fleeing from the battlefield of the battle. O Kaurava, what will you do when you behold the wielder of Gandiva, Bhimashena, and the twins in the battle? In a battle, Falguna's arrows are like the sun and the fire in their energy. Satyaki's arrows are equal to those, and you are terrified and are running away from those. In that event, let there be peace, and hand over the earth to Dharmaraj. Have peace with the Pandavas before Falguna's sons, Falguna's iron arrows, which are like snakes that have been cast. Sorry. Have peace with the Pandavas before Falguna's iron arrows, which are like snakes that have cast off their skins, penetrate your body. Have peace with the Pandavas before the great souled Partas kill 100 of your brothers in battle and fling them down on the ground. Have peace with the Pandavas before King Yudhisthira, Dharma's son, and Krishna, who prides himself in battle, are enraged. Have peace with the Pandavas before the mighty Bhima penetrates the large army and grasps your brothers. This is what Bhishma told your brother Suryodhana earlier. O amiable one, the Pandavas cannot be vanquished in battle. Have peace with the Pandavas. But your wicked brother Suryodhana did not act accordingly. Therefore, resolve to fight and endeavour to battle with the Pandavas. Swiftly go on your chariot to the spot where Satyaki is stationed, O descendant of the Bharata lineage. Without your presence, the army will be driven away. Truth is Satyaki's valor. For your own sake, fight with him in the battle. Having been thus addressed, your son did not say anything in reply. He pretended not to have heard what had been said and went to the spot where Satyaki was. He was accompanied by a large army of militias who did not retreat. Having approached Duryodhana in the battle, he sought to fight with him. Drona, foremost among Rathas, angrily advanced against the Panchalas and the Pandavas using a medium speed. In that battle, Drona penetrated the Panchala army. He drove away those warriors in hundreds and thousands. O great king, Drona proclaimed his name in the battle and caused great carnage among the Pandus, Panchalas, and Matsyas. The radiant Raketu, the son of Panchala, attacked him. He pierced Drona with 5 arrows that had drooping tufts. He pierced his standard with 1 and his chariot with another 7. O great king, what I witnessed in that counter was extraordinary. Despite his violence, Drona could not approach Panchala in that battle. O venerable one, O king, on seeing that Drona had been checked in that battle, all the Panchalas desired the victory of Dharma's son and surrounded him from all sides. O king, they enveloped Drona with arrows that were like fire, extremely thick javelins, and many kinds of weapons. O king, but in every direction, Drona destroyed those masses of arrows like a giant cloud in the sky driven away by the wind. The destroyer of enemy heroes then released an extremely terrible arrow, which was like the sun and the fire, towards Viraketu's chariot. O king, that arrow penetrated the descendant of the Panchala lineage and quickly entered the earth like a flaming and red mountain. The descendant of the Panchala lineage swiftly fell down from the chariot like a giant champaka tree that had been shattered by the wind and has fallen from a mountain top. When that prince, immensely strong and a great archer, was killed, the Panchalas quickly surrounded Drona from every direction. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, Chitraketu, Sudanva, Chitravarma, and Chitraratha were stricken with grief on account of their brother. They attacked and unitedly fought against Bharadvaja's son. They released showers of arrows like clouds at the end of the summer. He was struck in many ways by these Maharata princes. Those princes were angry in the battle, but he deprived them of their horses, charioteers, and chariots. The immensely illustrious one then used other extremely sharp and broad-headed arrows to sever and bring down their heads, as if he were plucking flowers. O extremely radiant king, slain, they fell down on the ground from their chariots. They were like Daityas and Danavas in the ancient battle between the gods and the Asuras. Those Maharata Panchalas were like the gods. On seeing that they had been killed, Dhristadyumna became extremely angry, and tears flowed from his eyes. In that battle, he angrily advanced towards Drona's chariot. O king, in that battle, Drona was enveloped by Panchala's arrows, and on seeing this, great sounds of lamentation suddenly arose. But though he was enveloped in many ways by the great-souled Parshata, Drona was not distressed and smilingly continued to fight. O great king, Panchala became senseless with rage and wrathily struck Drona in the chest with 90 arrows with drooping tufts. Bharadvaja's powerful and immensely illustrious son was severely wounded. He lost his senses and sat down on the floor of his chariot. On seeing him in that state, the valiant Dhristadyumna cast aside his bow. The brave one quickly grasped the sword, O venerable one. The Maharata quickly descended from his chariot and swiftly ascended the chariot of Bharadvaja's son. His eyes were red with rage, and he wished to sever his head from his body. Meanwhile, the immensely strong Drona regained his senses and grasped a bow. O king, he pierced him with his Vaitashtica's arrows that were meant to be used for fighting at close quarters. O king, in that battle, Maharata Dhristadyumna was struck by Vaitashtika arrows that were meant for fighting at close quarters. I will repeat it. These were known to Drona, and they weakened Dhristadyumna. Having been struck by many such arrows, the immensely strong one quickly descended from the chariot. The brave one's speed had been baffled. The brave one ascended his own chariot and grasped a giant bow. In that encounter, Maharata Dhristadyumna pierced Drona. O great king, the clash between them was marvelous, and large numbers of beings applauded it, the Kshatriyas as well as other soldiers present there, O king. The Panchas loudly acclaimed, "There is no doubt that having engaged in this encounter, Drona will be subjugated by Dhristadyumna." In that battle, Drona quickly bore down the head of Drishtadyumna's charioteer like a ripe fruit from a tree. Wow. O king, the great souled one's horses ran away. When they had run away from the battle, the powerful one drove away the Panchalas and the Srinjayas. Bharadvaja's powerful son defeated the Pandus and the Panchalas. The scorcher of enemies re-established his Vyuha and stationed himself there. O Lord, the Pandavas evinced no interest in defeating him in the battle. I carry on?
Oh, it's gone 9 now.
Shall I stop there?
Yeah, I think so. Because I need to retire.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That was wonderful. Wow.
Great. Good. Good session.
Yeah.